marked a landmark day in the Indian judicial system when the Supreme Court delivered the epic Kesavananda Bharati judgment. 24th April 1973, a date which will go down in history as the introduction of the basic structure doctrine, which will change the constitutional landscape in India.
The Indian Constitution, the fundamental law of the land, the longest constitution of any sovereign nation in the world. Can the Parliament change this Indian Constitution unrestricted? Can it change, amend or repeal any part of the Constitution to the point that all essential rights are eliminated? This is a story when the Supreme Court of India had to face and answer such a difficult question. The story of the most important case in the history of India. The case that reinforced the supremacy of the Constitution and strengthened the democratic setup of our country for times to come. March 1970. Kesavananda Bharati, a monk heading a mutt in Kerala, filed a case before the Supreme Court of India challenging the Kerala government's attempts to acquire the mutt's property through the Kerala Land Reforms Act and challenging the validity of the Land Reforms Act. This posed a great issue before the Supreme Court due to the previous decisions in similar cases and amendments brought in the Constitution. The largest ever bench in the history of Supreme Court of 13 judges sat to decide the case. They were assisted by many senior lawyers. The lead counsel on behalf of Kesavananda Bharati was Nani Palkiwala, whereas H.M. Sirvai appeared for the state of Kerala. Nirende, the then Attorney General for India, appeared for the Union of India. 31st October 1972, the arguments in the case began, and after 69 days of hearing, spanning over 5 months, finally, with 11 judicial opinions, a 703-page long Kesavananda Bharati judgment was delivered on 24th April 1973. In a 7-6 majority decision, the Supreme Court propounded that any part of the Constitution may be amended by following the procedure prescribed in Article 368, but no part may be so amended as to alter the basic structure of the Constitution. This is what came to be known as the Basic Structure Doctrine, which ensures that the Constitution remains the supreme law of the land and protects the basic values and principles upon which the Indian state is founded. The judgment also held that the fundamental rights and directive principles together form the core of the Constitution and need to be understood harmoniously. The judgment also gave few illustrations as to what constitutes basic structure. The supremacy of the Constitution, the rule of law, and the independence of the judiciary were some of them. In the last 50 years, this doctrine has ensured that the Constitution remains a living document and has allowed it to be responsive to changing times, along with retaining its fundamental values and principles. Kesavananda Bharati's judgment was a milestone that led to the judicial innovation, the Basic Structure Doctrine. It changed the constitutional landscape in India and paved the way to be followed and discussed in foreign jurisdictions.